Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to look at graphing standard form of linear equations. If you've completed the previous video, grade 8 two-variable equations, today's lesson will be easier for you. And if you have a ruler, that'd be really handy to have today. So just a reminder, slope-intercept form is this here, y equals mx plus b. And another way we can write linear relations is of this form, ax plus by equals c, and we call that the standard form. And so we're going to graph equations in the standard form using x and y intercepts. So let's take a look at x and y intercepts before we start graphing. So example 1, determine the x and y intercepts for the following graphs. So the x-intercepts is where does it cross the x-axis. So here at -1 and here at 1 we have crossing of the x-axis, and we call those x-intercepts. So first one is x equals -1 and the other one is x equals 1. And then y-intercept is where does it cross the y-axis, and so here at -3 it crosses the y-axis. So the y-intercept is y equals -3. B. Here we have another graph like this. So x-intercept is -3, right? That's where it crosses there. And the y-intercept is 4, which is where it crosses on the y-axis. C. So x-intercept crosses -2. It touches the 1 here. So the x-intercepts are -2 and x equals 1, like that. Those are the x-intercepts. Y-intercept, it crosses at 1. So the y-intercept is y equals 1. Okay, so time for some practice. Practice number 1. Determine the x and y intercepts for the following graphs. Go ahead and pause the video and answer that. Okay, so it's crossing at the 2 for our x-intercept, so x equals 2. Crossing at the 3 for the y, so the y-intercept is 3, like that. B. X-intercept crosses at 0 and 2, so x-intercept is 0 and 2. The y-intercept is where does it cross on the y, and it crosses it at 0, so y-intercept is y equals 0. Okay, so let's move on. So right now we're going to graph some linear equations that are in standard form, right? Ax plus by equals c, like that. So how are we going to do it? We're going to say when x is 0, right? When x is 0, that gives us the y-intercept, right? X is 2, 1, 0. X is 0, y is 4. How do we know that? We're going to plug in x equals 0. 2 times 0 is 0, and y plus 0 is y. So this goes away, and what's left is y equals 4, like that. So when x is 0, y is 4. So that's our first point on the graph. The second point, we're going to say, okay, y is 0. So we plug in y equals 0, so this is gone. What's left is 2x equals 4, like that. Divide by 2 on both sides, x equals 2. So when y is 0, x is 2. And so that's our other coordinate there. And then now we simply connect the two, and then we write the equation beside the graph like that. So we got our arrows everywhere, labeled the axes, a few important numbers are written down, and you write down the equation. This is perfectly good graph, like that. Okay, so I'm going to do lots of examples. So B, here's our equation here. When x is 0, 2y equals 6, right? X is 0, goes away, so 2y equals 6. Divide by 2 on both sides, y equals 3. So when x is 0, y equals 3. That's our y-intercept. X-intercept here is when y is 0, right? Y is 0, we get our x-intercept. So y is 0, plug that in. We get -3x equals 6. Divide by -3 on both sides to get x equals -2. So x equals -2, 0, like that. And that's our second point. And so we connect the two, and that is our graph. C, 5x plus y equals 10. So we start with x equals 0, plug that in, you get y equals 10, like that. y equals 0, plug that in, you get 5x equals 10. Divide by 5 both sides, x equals 2. So here x equals 2, here y equals 10, and we connect the two like that. D, half x plus third y equals 6. So we'll start when x equals 0, this goes away. So we have a third y equals 6. Times 3 on both sides, y equals 18. So when x is 0, y is 18, like that. And when y equals 0, we plug that in, and what's left is half x equals 6. Times 2 on both sides, x equals 12. So y is 0, x is 12. That's our second point. We draw the line, and there's our graph. Okay, time for your turn. Lots of practice. Very important that you practice. So go ahead and pause the video and graph the following equations. Okay, first one, 3x plus 4y equals 12. When x is 0, y equals 3. When y is 0, x equals 4. And so 0, 3 is here, and then 4, 0 is here. And when we connect the two, and there's our graph. B, negative 5 plus 5y equals 10. X equals 0, we get y equals 2. Y equals 0, we get x equals negative 10. And so we have 0, 2 here, and negative 10, 0 here, and we connect the two like that. All right, so it's really easy when you get the hang of it. All right, so C, 4x minus y equals 8. So when x equals 0, y equals negative 8. When y is 0, x equals 2. So x equals 2, 0 here, and then 0, negative 8 is here. We connect the two, and we're done. D, 1/5 x plus 1/10 y equals 10. When x equals 0, y equals 100. When y equals 0, x equals 50. So we have 100 on the y, 50 on the x. Connect the two, and we're done. E, 2/3 x plus y equals negative 9. So when x is 0, y is negative 9. When y is 0, 2/3 x equals negative 9, times 3 on both sides, divided by 2 on both sides, so we get x equals negative 13.5. So here's our negative 13.5, here is our negative 9, we connect the two, and we're done. Okay, here's some other kinds of equations. Graph the following equation, y equals 3. What this means is for any x value I plug in, y is always 3. So we can think of it as this, 0 times x plus plus y equals 3. So if x equals 1, 0 times 1 is 0, and y is 3. If x equals 2, 0 times 2 is 0, and we have y equals 3. So for any x value, y is always 3, like that. And so this is the line of our equation. So y equals 3 is right here. B, x equals 2. And what this means is that for any y value, x is always 2. So here's x equals 2, and at any y value, you always have x equals 2. And so that's our x equal 2 line, like that. Okay, so go ahead, pause the video, and graph the following equations. Okay, so we're back. Y equals negative 2. So we go to negative 2. Y is always negative 2, like that. X equals 4. No matter what y value you go to, x is always 4. So there's our x equals 4 line. Y equals 6. We go to 6. Y equals 6 is our line, like that. X equals negative 2. So go to negative 2. X is negative 2, like that. Y equals 0. And so this is the red line here. No matter what the x value is, the y is always 0. So this is basically the x-axis here. In f, x equals 0. So when x is 0, that's all of these lines here. So x equals 0, this is the line, and it's equivalent to being the y-axis, like that. And that's it. It's that easy. I'll see you guys in the next video.